us, and we get swept up in it really easily. And I was using music myself as a mechanism for bringing myself back down to earth, grounding myself. I got really interested in music for calm and music, why music makes you feel, what on earth it is, how these sounds, these beautiful instruments interact with our body. And so I started studying, and then I kept studying, and I never stopped studying. And 14 years later, I actually wrote this album for my PhD. And I was looking at specific things that you could do musically as composers that could make us feel certain things. And again, because I was so fascinated with calm and catharsis, that became the kind of cause of all of this. So I love the feeling of purging emotions. I think that's also really, really necessary to get us back down to that kind of state of, that really kind of low vibrational state where we feel grounded. So hence the combination. Yeah.
Remember, if we just play a little bit from the opening, remember, Lou, that you described this one as a musical hug, and I love that, and I remember that image. This one, just that there's a certain warmth about it, which is absolutely beautiful.
That first piece actually, so I did study the music and ran a few studies around this album, and that first piece was came back as by far the most calming and the most relaxed and the happiest piece. So we started there. I'm going to keep progressing.
And I noticed too that some of the tempo of the speeds are the same actually. So is there's something about a certain tempo and how that resonates in the body to create a certain effect?
Yes, great question, absolutely. We have this incredible thing that makes us want to tap our foot or want to dance. I always think it's a bit funny that we dance. Don't you? Don't you think that if like another alien kind of invasion came and they saw us boogieing, they'd think it's really odd? And I was fascinated as to why, why do we do this thing where we wiggle and we always want to wiggle our bodies? We have this thing in our bodies called sensory motor synchronization, where our internal rhythms want to interact with a prominent external rhythm. So when something has a really prominent rhythm, we will find ourselves tapping to it, but it also has the power to change our heart rate. We can raise or lower our heart rate. We can then affect our blood pressure. It's a whole host of things. So the tempo, the how fast or slow these pieces are actually written around the range of the average adult's resting heart rate. So ideally, we're meant to be meeting you at your kind of average resting heart rate and then bringing it down. We've done the opposite tonight, actually. We decided we were going to end on a bang.
So you guys ready to party?
But it is interesting though, because if we're just, when we're rehearsing and we slowly, that doesn't feel quite right, and it could be only just a few clicks faster or slower, and it doesn't kind of fit into where we feel what you're trying to do.
It's really interesting. And it would depend on the day, and it would depend on the time of day and what's happening for you as well. I don't know if I can't actually remember because it's been a while since I wrote these, but did I put any of these, did I write the tempo marking any of these that said at your resting heart rate?
No.
I should have. Because
but what if we have different resting heart rates?
Yeah, I know. Well, you kind of try and find the average. I started doing that I've just done another album for Calm. And a lot of the pieces are written at your resting heart rate, so you have to sit there and kind of find a happy medium.
The next one's at 144.
Okay, so
that's
your heart rate 144.
That was me this morning. I never set an alarm because my child wakes me up late at 6 a.m. But today he ran in at 6:35. Very excited that he'd slept in, but we actually had to leave the house at 6:50 to get the plane. So my resting heart rate was
144. Well, prepare yourselves to start up for this one then, because 144 is fast.
But just back to the idea about how music makes you move. So when I was younger, I used to work as an usher at QPAC in Brisbane, and I always noticed that when they had kids concerts, that it was just this sea of moving and wiggling, and it just struck me like it's so sad that now we're grown-ups and we all just sit.
We stop wiggling.
Right? We stop moving, and we think we're not allowed to.
Well, I think it's about giving permission to. So, for example, a recent festival I ran, we actually took all the chairs away. People brought in their yoga mats and either laid down or moved with the music. And it was fantastic to kind of just take away that basic cultural norm of a chair, and then invite people to bring in their own cushions or however they want to present. And of course, some people said, I don't feel comfortable laying down, so we brought in a chair. But then they had the option of putting the chair exactly where they wanted it to be. And then that was a huge amount of anxiety, like, where do I actually want to put my chair? Am I going to be in the way of anyone? You know? And I said, well, actually, at the end of every piece, you can move it. And you can listen in a different way. You can actually have it turned around. And so they started experimenting with listening in a whole different capacity. And I don't know if anyone's been to, say, the Richter's kind of sleep experiences, but that's the extreme, isn't it? Where you're literally just sleeping for 12 hours while listening to live musicians.
Oh, incredible. In the opera house.
Yeah! And if there was one place I remember fondly, I'm just thinking about heart rate. My father is a musician too, and I remember very early on sleeping underneath the piano. So for me, as a young person, I was brought up with the sound and noise and messiness of music happening. But to me, the piano connects with that very strong memory of my father practicing. Doesn't matter what it was something. So it's interesting how we connect memory to vibration of sound as well.
I think it should be okay to sleep during concerts.
Absolutely.
I mean, but you're not really sleeping. You're going into that kind of
Actually, I do.
Deepness.
Sometimes you do. Sometimes you know. Well, hang on.
Maybe that's what you needed.
Yeah.
How beautiful that the music could facilitate that.
Yeah. Because you're resting.
Yeah.
But it'd be